Have you ever wondered why good men are ignored, why kindness often leads to weakness, and why respect can vanish the moment you hesitate? In a world ruled not by fairness, but by power, the ones who survive are not the kindest, but the most cunning. Today, we uncover the dark side of life through the eyes of Machiavelli. In this theater of human existence, virtue is a mask, and power is the hand beneath it. I, Machiavelli, shall guide you through the shadows where truth hides. Here, you will learn what most fear to admit. Life is not governed by morality, but by dominance, fear, and control. The dark side is not a curse, it is a weapon. Life, as men prefer to imagine it, is painted in bright colors. They speak of fairness, justice, loyalty, and kindness as if these fragile ideals govern the world. But behind every throne, every alliance, and every empire lies a darker truth. Life is not ruled by goodness, but by necessity, by hunger, and by power. To ignore this truth is to wander blind among wolves, believing their teeth are smiles. To understand it is to walk armed through a battlefield where most men stumble unaware. This is the dark side of life, and it is the only side that matters if one seeks survival and dominion. Observe men carefully, and you will see that their words seldom match their deeds. They speak of honor but betray when it suits them. They speak of love yet abandon when it is convenient. They preach kindness yet exploit the generous without hesitation. Here lies the first lesson. Do not measure life by the mask people wear, but by the shadows behind it. A prince who believes men are noble will be destroyed by their treachery. A prince who accepts their corruption will command them, for he knows their price. Kindness, often praised as virtue, becomes a chain around the neck of the unsuspecting. Give freely, and you create not gratitude but expectation. Men do not remember gifts for long, they remember only when those gifts cease. Thus kindness turns quickly into resentment, and the giver becomes a servant to the endless hunger of others. Better to give rarely and only when it strengthens your hand. Let your kindness resemble a storm, unexpected, powerful, and unforgettable, rather than a gentle rain that breeds weeds of entitlement. Respect, that elusive prize all crave, is seldom built upon kindness. It is born from strength and the perception of danger. Men respect the sword more than the hand that feeds them. They admire power even when it crushes them, because fear etches itself deeper than gratitude ever can. If you wish for respect, do not waste your efforts on pleasing men. Instead, make yourself formidable. Speak little, act decisively, and never hesitate when your authority is tested. In silence and restraint lies more terror than in loud threats, for men fear what they cannot predict. Disrespect, however, is the deadliest spark in this dark game. If you suffer it once, even in silence, it becomes permission for others to follow. Men test boundaries as children test their parents. If a child discovers no punishment, his defiance grows. If subjects or rivals find you tolerant of insult, they will consume your authority like vultures feasting on a corpse. Thus, the only cure for disrespect is decisive punishment. It must not be delivered with blind anger, for anger clouds judgment. Instead, it must be cold, precise, and memorable. By striking swiftly and effectively, you teach others a lesson that lingers longer than mercy ever could. Mercy is praised by the weak, but it is fear that preserves power. Power itself is the thread connecting kindness and respect. Without power, your kindness is ignored and your respect is mocked. With power, even silence commands attention, and even a smile inspires fear. The wise man uses kindness sparingly, like a merchant offering rare treasures. He demands respect not through pleading, but through his aura of inevitability. And when he combines the two, when he is capable of cruelty but chooses kindness only when it benefits him. He ascends above ordinary men. He becomes untouchable, for none can predict his next move, and all understand that behind his mercy lies the capacity for destruction. This is the true nature of life, a theater where men wear masks, where ideals are illusions, and where the only lasting truths are fear, power, and necessity. Those who cling to the illusion of goodness will be devoured by those who understand the darkness, but those who accept the darkness not as curse but as weapon will bend life itself to their will. 1. The dark side of kindness. Kindness. The world praises it, poets sing of it, and preachers demand it. From childhood you are told that kindness is the highest virtue, that if you give generously, speak softly, and forgive endlessly, the world will reward you with love and loyalty. But I tell you this, kindness, when unguarded, does not crown you with respect, it strips you of power. It is a beautiful mask that hides a deadly weakness, and those who show it too freely will learn the cruel truth. Kindness is often mistaken not for strength, but for submission. Observe carefully how men react to those who are always kind. They take advantage. They lean heavily upon the one who offers without hesitation, for human nature is greedy and insatiable. A man who gives too much teaches others not to honor him, but to expect from him. His generosity becomes an obligation, not a gift. What once was praised as noble soon turns into a burden in the eyes of others, and the giver finds himself chained by the very virtue he believed would set him free. Think of the ruler who forgives every offense, who rewards every request, who smiles even when betrayed. His subjects may speak well of him in public. They may call him gentle and merciful, but behind closed doors they whisper of his weakness. They do not fear him. They do not respect him. They use him. For men admire kindness when it is rare, when it is deliberate, when it carries weight. But when it is constant, when it is without calculation, they trample it as they trample soft grass beneath their boots. This is the dark side of kindness. It deceives not others, but you. You believe you are winning loyalty when in truth you are cultivating dependence. You imagine your generosity inspires gratitude, but gratitude fades quickly, and in its place grows entitlement. People will not remember the countless times you offered your hand. They will remember the one time you withheld it. Your endless kindness becomes the rope with which they drag you down, demanding more, giving nothing in return. Ask yourself, then, should a man abandon kindness altogether? No. A ruler without the capacity for kindness becomes despised, for cruelty alone breeds rebellion. But here is the key. Kindness must be a weapon, not a weakness. It must be used sparingly, like the blade of a dagger, revealed only when its presence will shock, wound, or command loyalty. Imagine the power of a ruler known for his iron will, feared for his decisiveness, who then chooses to show mercy on a rare occasion. That single act will be remembered for years because it was unexpected. It was not his habit but his choice, and because it was his choice it carried meaning. Contrast this with the man who is kind every day, who forgives every insult, who gives away every treasure. His acts blur together like drops of water in an endless stream. No one remembers them, for they are too common. Worse, they create no awe, no respect, only complacency. People expect his generosity the way they expect the sun to rise. And when, one day, he denies them, they curse him because they believe they were entitled to his kindness all along. Therefore, to wield kindness properly, you must bind it to power. Give only when it strengthens your position. Forgive only when it secures loyalty. Show mercy only when it terrifies others more than your punishment would. Let men wonder, let them fear your silence, let them pray for your approval. Then, when you choose to grant it, your kindness will not be seen as weakness. It will be seen as a gift from a ruler who could have destroyed but instead decided to spare. In this way, kindness ceases to be a chain around your neck and becomes instead a weapon in your hand. Kindness is a tool of strategy, not of sentiment. The wise ruler does not give because his heart is soft. He gives because it sharpens his blade. He does not forgive because he is incapable of anger. He forgives because it multiplies his influence. He does not show mercy because he is weak. He shows it because it makes men fear the power he holds back. And in this, kindness becomes not a virtue, but a weapon of control, sharper than cruelty, more enduring than generosity. 2. The dark psychology of respect. Everyone demands it, but few understand how it is truly earned. You have been told that respect comes from being good, from being fair, from treating others with kindness. Teachers, preachers, and poets speak of it as though respect is a reward for virtue. But let me tell you this truth: respect is not given to those who are good. Respect is granted only to those who cannot be ignored. It is not born from love. It is born from power, from fear, and from the unshakable sense that you have the strength to destroy as easily as you can protect. Watch how men behave when they are faced with someone who always seeks to please. They may smile, they may nod, they may even flatter him with words, but their respect, it is shallow if it exists at all. For deep within, they know he depends on their approval, and nothing destroys respect faster than neediness. When you appear desperate to be liked, you show your hand, and your hand is empty. Men respect only what threatens them, what challenges them, or what they cannot control. Think of the commander who disciplines his soldiers with harsh rules, who rewards strength but tolerates no weakness. His men may curse him in whispers, they may dread his punishments, but when the time for battle comes, they obey him without hesitation. Why? Because they respect him. They know his authority is not a performance, but a force that shapes their fate. They know he will act with decisiveness, that he will not bend simply to gain their affection. Contrast this with the gentle leader who avoids confrontation, who bends whenever pressure is applied, who is eager to be loved. His soldiers may laugh with him, may even call him a friend, but in the moment of crisis, his voice will not carry weight. Respect vanishes the instant a man shows he fears losing it. Respect is not built by words. Words are air. Men speak them cheaply and they dissolve quickly. Respect is built by presence, by silence, by the aura you carry into a room. If you wish to be respected, you must cultivate an image that commands attention before you even speak. Men must look at you and sense the consequences of crossing you. They must feel in their bones that your patience has limits, and those limits are guarded by punishment. Without that fear, your respect is nothing more than politeness disguised. Do not confuse being liked with being respected. To be liked is to be seen as harmless, pleasant, agreeable. To be respected is to be seen as dangerous but disciplined. When men like you, they may smile at you, but when men respect you, they step aside for you. The difference is vast. One lasts as long as their mood, the other endures even when they despise you. Which would you choose, to be liked today, or to be respected forever? Now look deeper into the psychology of respect. At its core lies power, but not always the power of the sword. It is the power of certainty. The man who knows exactly who he is, who speaks little but acts without hesitation, who never lowers himself to beg for approval. This man gains respect without even demanding it. He is the oak tree in a storm. Others may sway and tremble, but he remains. His very stillness becomes a form of intimidation, for men fear what they cannot move. Discipline, consistency, and self-control are the pillars upon which respect is built. If you are unpredictable, if you betray your own words, if you crumble when tested, men will lose faith in you. But if you show that your decisions are final, that your rules are unshakable, and that you are willing to punish disobedience without hesitation, you will be respected even by those who hate you. They may despise you in silence, but their actions will obey you. And actions, not words, reveal the truth of respect. Respect thrives not in generosity, but in restraint. If you give too freely, you are seen as desperate. If you forgive too easily, you are seen as weak. But if you withhold, if you grant rewards only when they are earned, and if you make others work for your approval, your respect grows like a fortress no one dares to breach. Men admire the gate that does not open for everyone. They admire the leader who remains above their level, untouchable, elevated. For to be respected, you must not be seen as equal. You must be seen as greater. 3. The darkest way to handle disrespect. It is subtle at first, a whisper, a glance, a careless word spoken in the wrong tone. Many dismiss it as nothing, a minor offense, a thing not worth their energy, but disrespect is never small. It is a seed, and if you allow it to take root, it grows into rebellion. Those who overlook the slightest insult invite larger ones. The one who tolerates mockery becomes the one who tolerates betrayal. And when betrayal comes, it is too late to correct what was allowed to fester. The harsh truth is this: disrespect must never be ignored, for it spreads like fire when left unchecked. Consider how men test authority. A child challenges his father not with great defiance, but with small disobedience. If the father permits it, the child learns he can push further. If the father corrects it swiftly, the child learns his boundaries. The same principle governs armies, courts, kingdoms, even friendships. Men will always test your limits to see how far they can go. Disrespect is their way of asking without words. Will you enforce your rule, or will you yield? Your answer in that moment defines how they will treat you for years to come. The worst mistake a man can make is to respond to disrespect with weakness disguised as virtue. He tells himself he is the bigger man, that by ignoring the offense he rises above it. In truth, he lowers himself. For silence without consequence is not strength, it is surrender. Those who insult him laugh behind closed doors, emboldened, because they know there will be no punishment. They now understand that his authority is fragile, that his pride can be trampled without danger. And once one man dares to disrespect you publicly, others will follow, for men are imitators. One act of unchecked insolence becomes the license for many. But beware also the mistake of reacting with uncontrolled rage. Anger blinds judgment, and wild retaliation often harms more than it helps. Strike blindly, and you may create more enemies than you destroy. Disrespect must be met not with uncontrolled emotion, but with deliberate precision. Your response must be calculated, swift, and unforgettable. It should serve not only as punishment for the offender, but as a lesson to all who watch. The true power of your retaliation lies not only in silencing the one who disrespected you, but in teaching everyone else what fate awaits those who dare the same. Think of the ruler whose general mocked him in private. When the insult reached his ears, he did not shout, did not argue, did not demand apologies. Instead, he stripped the general of command before the entire army. No words needed, no long speech, only action. The army understood instantly. Their ruler would not tolerate even the hint of insolence. Fear tightened their loyalty, and respect was preserved. Had he ignored it, had he laughed it away, whispers would have multiplied until discipline collapsed. This is the darkest way to handle disrespect, to crush it completely and without delay. Not with noise, not with spectacle, but with a decisive act that leaves no room for misinterpretation. Show mercy if you wish, but only after dominance has been re-established, and even then, let that mercy carry the weight of your power. Punish so effectively that others hesitate to even think of crossing you. Men must believe that to disrespect you is to endanger themselves, their ambitions, even their survival. When they understand this, they will guard their words, they will guard their actions, they will guard their thoughts when in your presence. Do not mistake cruelty for effectiveness. The point is not endless punishment. The point is decisive punishment. A single act, sharp and memorable, often prevents the need for many others. It is better to end one man's insolence as an example than to allow it to spread until you are forced to crush a rebellion. The wise leader understands that it is not the size of the punishment that matters most, but its timing and its certainty. Men must know that the line of respect is not negotiable, not flexible, not open for discussion. It is absolute. For the dark side of kindness, power, and respect becoming untouchable to understand the dark side of life is to see that kindness, power, and respect are not separate. They are intertwined threads in the fabric of control. A man who possesses only kindness is eaten alive. A man who possesses only power is feared, but often hated to the point of revolt. A man who seeks only respect without strength to enforce it is mocked. But the one who masters all three and weaves them together with strategy becomes something more. He becomes untouchable, a figure beyond challenge, a presence so formidable that no one dares to test his boundaries. Kindness on its own weakens, but when it comes from a man already feared, it becomes priceless. Imagine a ruler known for his severity, for his willingness to punish swiftly, for the strength that radiates in every command. His people walk carefully in his shadow, fearing his wrath. And then, without warning, he shows mercy. He grants kindness not because it is demanded, not because he is soft, but because he chooses to. That single act becomes a story repeated for years, magnified by the fear that surrounds it. For when cruelty is expected, mercy becomes unforgettable. That is the true power of kindness, not in its abundance, but in its rarity, when wielded from a position of dominance. Power without respect collapses. Men may obey out of fear, but their obedience is fragile. They obey when you are present, but the moment you turn your back, they conspire. The wise ruler understands this and builds not only fear, but respect. And respect is born not only from punishment, but from discipline, consistency, and presence. If you are strong but unpredictable, your men will see you as a tyrant. If you are strong but just, if your punishments are harsh yet fair, then your respect grows alongside your power. Men come to accept your authority not only because they fear your hand, but because they recognize the logic in it. They may not love you, but they will not doubt you. Respect, in turn, without the strength of power, is hollow. A man may be admired for his intelligence, for his wisdom, for his kindness, but if he cannot enforce his will, his respect is empty. It is the respect of words, not actions, and words vanish in the wind. True respect is fused with fear of consequence. It is admiration tied to the knowledge that you can reward or destroy. Without that, respect is politeness, and politeness does not protect a man when ambition surrounds him. To become untouchable, then, you must bind these three forces together. You must be feared enough that no man dares test you, respected enough that no man doubts you, and kind enough that your presence is not only dreaded but also desired. It is a balance that few achieve, for it requires discipline. Too much kindness and you are weak. Too much cruelty and you are despised. Too much hunger for respect and you look desperate. But when you master restraint, when you grant only what strengthens you and deny everything else, you rise above ordinary rulers. Think of the man who enters a room and silence falls. Not because he shouted for it, not because he demanded it, but because his presence commands it. Those who see him recall the punishments he has delivered, the strength he has shown, the boundaries he has enforced. They recall too the rare moment when he offered kindness, when he lifted someone from despair, and how that kindness carried the weight of thunder because it was unexpected. In him they see power, respect, and kindness not as contradictions but as weapons, each sharpened by the other. This is the man others fear to betray. This is the man others long to please. This is the man who cannot be touched. For untouchable does not mean you are beyond attack. It means attack never begins because the very thought of crossing you terrifies those around you. Your enemies hesitate, your allies obey, and your people whisper your name with a mixture of fear and awe. Untouchable is not granted by destiny. It is forged by your mastery of kindness, power, and respect, wielded with precision, balance, and unwavering control. So now you have seen the truth. Life is not shaped by fairness, nor ruled by kindness, nor preserved by love. It is governed by fear, by respect, by the ruthless balance of power and mercy. Kindness without power is slavery. Power without respect is rebellion. Respect without strength is illusion. But when you master them all, when you wield kindness as a weapon, when you enforce respect with unshakable authority, when you anchor power in discipline and fear, you rise above the fragile order of ordinary men. The dark side of life is not to be feared, it is to be understood. For those who master it do not merely survive, they rule.